So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast, where myself and Paddy both have time constraints, and it's not because we've lost. This one is going to be a short 10-15 minute one, but it's because we both have time constraints. But Aston Villa 0, Manchester United 1 on it was a tough watch of a game, for a lot of periods. Man United were good in the first half. In the second half, then they just resorted to just literally every single coming together. Was a push, was a foul, was some sort of a niggle in it, and they just really slowed down the game. And Villa couldn't really bring anything to the table. But I am going to speak out of both sides of my mouth here, and I'm going to say that I feel the last 10 minutes we could have gotten it. We could have snatched a draw out of it, and there was two situations. One where we had the ball cleared off the line. Douglas Luiz had two bites of the apple, two fantastic clearances off the line, and then another one where Ezri Konsa gets in the way of a header from a corner. So unfortunate not to take something from the game, but I think on a balance of play we didn't deserve really anything from it. But it was just a hard. I didn't enjoy watching any of that game. It was just a horrible watch, I think, for me, Paddy.
Yeah, I'd agree. There's a lot to talk about here, and there's a lot of people talking about the ref in the comments.
I thought he was bad. I thought he didn't meet the moment at all.
He's not the reason we play badly, but
no.
When you referee teams as opposed to games, then you've got a problem, a huge problem. And that's unfortunately what he did. He refereed the team today, and it's very annoying, very, very annoying to have to do that. But that's what we're going to come up against until we force our way into the Big Six. He just. I'm not even going to talk about him. I'm not overly disappointed with our performance.
I'll talk about him for a change if you want. Like I just think that there was some glaring things in this game. He came out directly in the game to allow the game flow. Man United just did some things that didn't let the game flow. Like there's just no way you couldn't blow a whistle. Like Casemiro should have been booked. Casemiro gets booked in the first half in that instance. Then I think that we can press up on top of him and makes a big difference. Malacia only getting booked for the bit at the end where he pulls back Traore. Malacia, literally, small man, loves to push stuff. Like literally, he must have been born with a trolley in his hand or something like that, because he was just all over John McGinn for the whole game. But look, once again, Jared Gillett wasn't the reason that we played poorly today. But it's worth talking about. It's a side piece of a conversation that we'd have. Because
the biggest gripe I have with him is only playing 4 minutes stoppage time. I counted nearly 4 minutes that Rashford was on the ground. Yeah. And the only reason Rashford was on the ground was in order to provoke a VAR check to what he thought was a penalty.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with him. Absolutely nothing wrong with him. And it's about time these referees start refereeing games as opposed to teams, because I'm just sick of it now. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
So to put 4 minutes on the end of that, with all the subs that were made, all the injuries that allegedly happened, and he only put 4 minutes on, and then couldn't wait to get the whistle in his mouth the minute that ball was cleared at the end. He's a coward. The league is full of cowards. They're afraid of Man United. They're afraid of Man City. They're afraid of Liverpool. We need to be just a little bit cuter ourselves. The amount of dark arts going on there that's never spoken about is phenomenal. Like absolutely phenomenal. So we have to get cleverer at it. Not just Emi Martinez wasting time. It's like the things, the fouls, the one he missed, John Duran getting pulled there at the end.
Yeah.
And you know what? He wasn't. The problem there was the linesman. What was the linesman looking at that he did not see that happening? It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Anyway, enough referees and everything else. We looked like we were playing lead in our boots in the first half.
Yeah,
we never got out of the blocks. I don't know. You know, I know we've gone to the well with this group of players so long now that we're just tired. I hope there's a few days off this week before they start worrying about next weekend, because there's a lot of tired legs there. And they should have been more tired than us, given the week that they've had. playing Thursday night, playing 120 minutes last weekend, and the pressures of that occasion of an FA Cup semi-final, we should have been the ones that were fresher, but we weren't. And
I think arguably in the second half they faded again. I think they did fade again in the second half, big style, and that's why I think we could. That's why I'm kind of a small bit frustrated. I think we could have got something out of it there today, but it just wasn't to be with their, like Linda. Okay, it's you have to put your hands up when you get it wrong. Sometimes I said that you needed to hammer Dalla and Malacia down the wings. We didn't lay a glove on either of the two of those for much of the game, and Lindelof and Shaw looked pretty comfortable at the back. But the biggest thing with this game, the biggest. Like the man of the match was by far and away, in my view, was far and away Casemiro. Like the difference, like he's a different player than anything in the majority of the teams in this league. You know, he's one of the most composed players. Yes, I know he gets sent off and everything like that, but he was the real difference I thought today, because we couldn't get past him, we couldn't get around him. No, when we went through the middle, like Buendia. Okay, we've stuck up for Buendia, but it's okay to say today that he had he had a stinker today, I think. And it was from a lot of reasons. He couldn't get any space, he couldn't create that space, he couldn't get moving. And then when he did get the ball, there was a couple of times he just literally passed it out of play. So it wasn't a game for him today. And we couldn't get any, as I say, we couldn't get anything through the middle. And then even when we did, Casemiro, when we were crossing the ball, Casemiro was standing in between Lindelof and Shaw an awful lot of the time, and it was very difficult for Watkins to do anything. So United got their tactics spot on today. I think that the first half, the rain really affected us. We couldn't get any counter-attack going. And I think that after maybe about 10 minutes, Unai kind of went, okay, let's try and dig in here like we've done a couple of times. And I thought we did really well. The goal we conceded was a typical goal we conceded against Manchester United. An initial shot saved. Wasn't much more, I don't think, that Martinez could have done with that. He could just get something on it. Yeah. Bruno Fernandes smashes in the back of the net.
And even at that, it takes a deflection. If it doesn't take that deflection, it doesn't go in. So that's just the kind of look. And what about him celebrating in front of our fans?
Yeah, he'll have a big wheel of cheese later on tonight to celebrate, just nibbling into it, won't he? Because he's, as we know, that he is a rodent. Speaking of... I suppose of incidents, I suppose, really within the game, there wasn't a whole pile of them. As I said, it was very niggly. It was very stop-start in the second half. It just wasn't a great game. But Paddy, I'm not going to sit here and be too high or too low about this game, and the reason being is because I felt we could win. We could go there and win 1-0 today. We nearly got something out of it. We didn't play well. But this is always a game, in this run-in that you're saying, if Villa get into know this, it's gravy. Now, if Villa get into know the United game, it is gravy. And yes, we were right to be hopeful beforehand, but we didn't get anything out of it. And as you said there, a big thing is now regroup, look towards Wolves next week. We're on a fantastic run still. We're still on one of the best runs in the club's Premier League history. So we look towards Wolves and we can still get European football today. Today would have really cemented us in the European football conversation. Now we're hoping on other teams' results. And that's okay too. That's okay too, because other teams will falter. Other teams will falter.
We just need to do our own thing now. Take each game as it comes, and in isolation. Like, we should know better to think that we're going to get anything at Old Trafford, because if no matter how hard we do, we always get rumbled by some kind of decision, or they don't get the punishment that they deserve. So it's absolutely not going to ruin my day. It would normally ruin my day if we lose to Man United, but I think when you take into consideration the players that are missing, the fact that we've relied on these players for 3 games in a week, and we were just like walking in custard, like that's what it was like today. It just never looked like we never got started. We played a bit better in the second half, I thought, when things started to freshen up with the players coming on. I thought he should have taken off Buendia a whole lot earlier than he did. I genuinely thought that Duran gave them a fright. They were worried about him. They pulled and dragged out of him every chance they could. And look, on another day, we get luckier. That ball doesn't deflect off. Was it Mings that come in to challenge? And it's, look, Ezri Konsa clearing the ball off their line probably would have been cleared from behind them anyway. But ideally, we'd have got a touch goalwards. It would definitely it would have went in. But I think we draw a line under it and start to focus for the next game. I'd like to see it freshened up a little bit. I'd love to see players coming back. I'd love to have Kamara back. I'd love to have Cash back. I'd love to have Coutinho to spring from the bench if he's going to be there. So we can't be too bitter about it. We just got to get on and focus on what's ahead of us.
I think
the risk
I
of keeping repeating myself here.
No, I think so too. Just a couple of comments there. Just like, you know, we're talking about being tired. We're talking about fatigue and stuff like that. But listen, look, what can we do? Like, what can the club? What can Unai Emery really do as opposed to playing young kids? Like, does anybody really think that we could have changed up maybe that midfield? Maybe had started maybe yes, you could have started Bertie, you could have started Duran or whatever in this game today. Not quite sure that tactically it would have been the smartest thing to do because of the impact they had coming off the bench. Do you go to the players maybe against Wolves at the weekend? Do you maybe give a live wire like a Caden Young, give them something to think about? Does he come off the bench? Again, I don't think that's something that we can do. We just have to kind of bunker in now and get some players back. As some of you guys have mentioned there, specifically, I think Cash and Kamara, those two would be real big additions. And hey, I'm going to even say it as well. Leon Bailey will be a real big addition here as well because maybe being able to rotate those the person that starts alongside Watkins might be something that we look at as well. And I think that I was reading on Twitter as well. There's a lot of there's a lot of negativity towards Watkins at the moment. He's had two poor games. Two games where we couldn't really get the ball to him, and I'm okay with that because the man has been absolutely on fire over. Like, if anybody thought that he was going to be scoring a goal again from here on to the end of the season, that's not an expectation I had. But fair play to you if people thought that was the way it was. And look, I'm going to call a spade here as well. He's just had another little baby child as well, so I don't know whether the sleep patterns are good. But once again, look,
yeah,
and to him. And to him, it should be the most important thing in his life as well. You know, that child, and that's mindless speculation out of me, just because it's something that's on my mind at the moment. How I'm barely running on any sleep at the moment, and how even less sleep is going to do me any better. So that's all that's going through my head at the moment. But the big thing is regrouping.
It could be a case as well that teams are wide to him now as well. So when he's got nothing else off him, it makes it a whole lot easier to mark him, and that's probably where what our downfall is with Buendia, kind of playing more of a 9.5 than a 9. So it's or a 10, I should say. He's dropping a whole lot deeper. There's nobody playing off Watkins, which would make him harder to mark. And that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see Bertie thrown in there. I'd like to see Duran thrown in there, just to see if we can mix it up a little bit. I still think we go and smash Wolves. I still think we'll get another win before the end of the season, and 2 wins might be enough to keep us where we are. We need snookers now at this stage, but there's no reason to be downbeat about this season, regardless of where we finish. I'm just so happy that we're in the position we are, and everything is looking good. I do think we will regret not signing 1 or 2 extra, because the injuries may ultimately cost us the European spot. Going on way too long. Like, arguably our best player is watching on from the stands. I'd love to have Kamara back in there for this run in. So hopefully he's not too far away, and hopefully he gets a good week's training this week.
Yeah, absolutely. We did say this was going to be a shorter one because myself and Paddy both need to dash off. And we've got about 60 seconds, both of us, to catch what we need to catch. So we're going to leave it at that, guys. We might be back again for a more in-depth conversation on it over the course of the next few days or whatever. But thanks, everybody, so much for joining us. It's not the day we planned. It's not the result we planned, but we move forward. We keep going. And we'll be watching Liverpool and Spurs today with intent, I think, later on. But as I say, look, one of those days, nothing went right for us. We didn't get the decisions from the ref, didn't get karma on our side, didn't get a bit of luck or anything like that. We've spoken about this team being lucky, and they certainly weren't lucky today. But we go again against Wolves at the risk of sounding like a former manager. We go again at the weekend, and hopefully we get the result and keep moving towards that European place. So thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Thanks so much if you're listening back to this afterwards. Really appreciate it. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.